Last week, while we adults were trying to decide who would win in a fistfight, Donald Trump or Joe Biden, the kids were planning a movement, organizing students, as you heard, from across the country, giving passionate speeches about the toll gun violence has taken on their lives, and issuing a warning to the politicians who don't vote for gun reform.
To those politicians supported by the NRA that allow the continued slaughter of our children and our future, I say get your resumes ready.
Now, we need to come together on all fronts and push aside those that divide us. Now we need to get on the phone and call our representatives and push them to stop incumbency and take action.
But many of these teen activists, including the ones we just heard from, can't vote against politicians who are NRA supplicants and can't vote for ones who stand up to the group because they can't vote. Stephen Colbert has a solution.
The adults aren't cutting it anymore. I think we need to change the voting age. Until we do something about guns, you can't vote if you're over 18.
Giving these teen activists the right to vote might be the least we can do. And as I wrote earlier this month in Boston Globe's magazine, to borrow a phrase from Emma Gonzalez, it's time to call BS on the tired old argument that 16 and 17-year-olds are less informed than older voters. You know, the same adults who voted for deficit exploding, inequality expanding, hyper-partisan politicians we now have? Younger voters certainly couldn't do any worse. And if Saturday's rallies are any indication, they'll probably do a whole lot better. At the Boston March, more than 400 people registered to vote, including some 16 and 17-year-olds who pre-registered. That's allowed, by the way, under a recent change of state law. It's a great start, but they shouldn't have to wait a year or more until they cast their first ballot. Senate President Harriet Chandler agrees. I asked her about letting 16 and 17-year-olds vote last week on Boston Public Radio.
Great idea. Once you get them into that voting booth, once they feel that they have something to learn, something to gain, it makes all the difference in the world.
That it does. Voting is habitual. Start young while you're still at home, and you're more likely to keep doing it. Don't vote young, and you're less likely to as you get older, or at least less likely to pick sides on things that matter. My money's on Joe Biden, by the way. They make him pretty tough in Scranton, PA. What do you think? Email us, tweet us, share your thoughts.